Have you ever felt sitting alone, that you are rare from everyone else, that what you think, what you can do, no one else can do? Let's see what are the 6 signs that make you different from the rest of the people. Imagine waking up and realizing you've never truly met yourself. Not the version you present to others, not the one you shape to survive, but the raw, unfiltered being beneath it all. That quiet hum inside you that's been murmuring truths you were too afraid to hear. Not because you're weak, but because the weight of honesty can shatter even the strongest illusions. And maybe, just maybe, you've spent your whole life building those illusions brick by brick, thinking they would keep you safe. But they didn't. They only made you quieter, smaller, invisible in places you were meant to shine. That ache in your chest when no one's watching, that isn't sadness. That's your soul mourning every version of you that died just to keep peace. And it's been dying quietly while you smiled politely, attended meetings, answered messages, posted happy photos, and swallowed words you wanted to scream. It's a strange thing, the human mind, capable of infinite brilliance, yet somehow convinced that hiding is a form of healing. We tell ourselves we're okay because the truth would shake the very ground we stand on. But there comes a moment, sometimes in a whisper, sometimes in a storm, when the truth refuses to wait. It doesn't knock, it breaks down the door. That's the moment when you realize your so-called flaws, the emotions you've labeled too much, the instincts you've been shamed for, they were never wrong. They were signals, codes, warnings from the deepest part of you, begging for presence, for integration, not to be fixed, but to be felt. But most people don't want to feel. They want comfort. And comfort often comes dressed as compliance. Have you ever wondered why numbness feels familiar? Why chaos feels safer than calm? It's not because you love pain. It's because pain is where you learn to navigate the world. Chaos taught you rules when no one else did. You adapted. You survived. But now you're mistaking those survival patterns for personality traits. You think you're broken when you're just burdened. Burdened by stories that were never yours. Emotions passed down like heirlooms. Beliefs inherited from generations who didn't have the space to feel. You carry not only your wounds, but theirs too. Your mother's silence, your father's rage, your grandmother's grief. All of it encoded in your body, showing up as overreactions, shutdowns, irrational fears. And you think it's just anxiety, but it's history and healing. Healing is not light streaming through windows. It's more often crawling through the basement of your psyche, eyes adjusting to the dark, trembling hands reaching for memories you buried deep because they burned too much. Healing is not poetic. It's messy, ugly, humbling. It forces you to sit with everything you've avoided, not to punish you, but to finally free you. You see, real change doesn't come when you chant mantras or recite affirmations. It comes when you're willing to stop performing, when you dare to feel shame without running, when you let guilt be witnessed instead of covered, when you stop trying to transcend your humanity and instead meet it with tenderness. And it's terrifying, because once you really start seeing yourself, your needs, your longings, your fragility, you can't go back. You can't pretend anymore. You can't laugh at jokes that sting. You can't stay in rooms that dim your light. You start saying no, not out of rebellion, but out of reverence for your truth. You start craving silence, not as escape, but as sanctuary. You look around and realize how many things you used to chase no longer hold meaning. You let go, not because it's trendy, but because the weight becomes unbearable. The masks don't fit. The roles become suffocating. And somewhere in the breaking, you find clarity. The clarity that your intensity is not dysfunction, it's discernment. That your emotional waves aren't mood swings, they're messages. That your anger isn't toxicity, it's a sacred call for boundary. And your tears, they're not weakness. They're proof that you're still alive, still open, still capable of connection in a world that rewards detachment. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What happened to me?" You get curious. You stop blaming your patterns and start listening to them. You notice the moment before you reach for distraction. You pause. You breathe. You realize that maybe healing isn't about becoming someone new. Maybe it's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. You begin again, not from perfection, from presence, from a gentle willingness to sit with discomfort instead of fleeing from it. You build safety not through control, but through compassion. You stop needing validation because you start giving yourself permission. Permission to rest, to rage, to feel joy without fear that it will vanish, to not explain your existence to anyone. You realize love doesn't mean self-sacrifice. Peace doesn't mean silence. And authenticity doesn't mean being liked. You find a deeper kind of strength, not the one that endures everything, but the one that dares to walk away. The one that doesn't just survive the fire, but becomes it. That burns down everything false so that something real can finally grow. And still, you fall. You spiral. You doubt. But now you rise with awareness. You no longer abandon yourself in moments of chaos. You hold yourself. You parent the parts that once cried alone in the dark. You speak softly to the parts that scream. You become the safe space you've always searched for. You're not healed because you don't hurt anymore. You're healing because you're no longer afraid of hurting. You trust your rhythm. Your breakdowns don't scare you. They inform you. Your sadness doesn't derail you. It guides you. You become fluent in your own emotional language. And in that fluency, there is freedom. You realize wholeness isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about allowing yourself to feel everything without shame. That's the real revolution, being unapologetically human in a world that sells you perfection. That's the power you've been searching for, and it's always been inside you, patiently waiting beneath the noise. So the question isn't whether you're ready to heal. The real question is, are you ready to meet yourself? Not as you've been told you are, but as you truly are, beneath the survival, beneath the roles, beneath the fears. Because that person, that's where your life begins, not the curated life, the real one, the one that doesn't just look good, but feels whole. And once you touch that truth, even for a second, you'll never settle for half alive again.